Hello, friend. Welcome back. I hope you had a lot of fun at the summer series that we just concluded. I've gotten such great feedback from so many of you. I know some of you were thinking maybe I should just brush off certain episodes, and then tuned into the episode and were like, whoa, I learned so much new stuff about different things that you totally weren't expecting. So I love hearing that. Super special shout out to all of our speakers again, because the summer selling series really was an amazing blast. So if you haven't tuned into those, it's the 6 episodes before this one. You'll see them. They're all classified. It's either like 1 of 6, 2 of 6, all of that. So it's a little bit easier for you to find if you are looking to sell more of different types of destinations. And then we rounded it out with river cruises at the end. But this is the first time I'm recording a podcast, actually, since back in June when I was doing all the interviews for that series, and then also getting started on this alternative careers and travel series that I am so excited to be bringing to you next week. As you probably have heard in the different promos, like, this was a passion project, and like every episode that I record, I feel like I get more and more excited about the different careers. Now, this is not just for you if you're like, I don't want a different career, I like what I'm doing. This is also for you if you're like, I would like to figure out different ways to monetize my travel business. It doesn't have to be, because I know many of you are primarily travel advisors. It doesn't have to be done just through travel advising. You know what they say, that you need 7 streams of revenue coming in order to have really more of a consistent income. And especially in uncertainty type of times, especially in the US with politics and everything, especially when we're thinking about the ebbs and flows, like, it's important to have other streams of income that can carry you when another one might not be able to carry you during a certain time. And because we are strategic travel entrepreneurs, we think ahead like that, right? So make sure to pre-register. This is going to be the last Friday that you can pre-register for free. You can do that through Tuesday the 6th, because on August 7th, when everything goes live, registration is just $9. So no biggie on that end when we do go live. And seriously, these episodes are super chock full and super amazing. We do have, just as a reminder as to some of the different careers that we're going to be talking about: travel coaching, virtual assistants, business development manager, travel writing, travel advising, which is going to be a good one for both new travel advisors and experienced travel advisors, destination management company, and travel blogging. We also have travel podcasting in there. We had to reschedule her interview at the last minute, so that will be posted at some point on the 7th of August. It's just going to come a little bit later, just because we're actually going to be recording that day. So stay tuned to that. And I feel like this is also a really great lay of the land of the travel industry. So it's like just so many good things that are coming out of here. Something else that's kind of at the forefront before I dive into the 7+ things that I've learned from the first 7 months of this year. Prep for Wave Week is coming soon. It's coming in October, but I want to be talking to you about it now because I would love to hear any ideas that you have for that event. So I'll try and link up the previous event so you can get a kind of a feel for what Prep for Wave Week is. But it is a 5-day virtual event. Day 1 is about foundations. Day 2 is about operations. Day 3 is about marketing. Day 4 is about sales. And day 5 is about expansion. And so I love to bring on speakers that are truly helpful and beneficial, whether they come from inside the industry or outside of the industry. So if there's anybody that you would love to hear from, any topics that are really on point for your business right now, this can run the gamut from really targeted marketing items, really targeted items to take your business to the next level. If you want to hear from different advisors, which I'm already planning a session on that, I'd like to hear from you. So if you could please take advantage of the text Rita feature, that is like you can go into your podcast player, look at it. If you're driving, don't do that. That's dangerous. But whenever you're able to, just hit that button to text me. So it doesn't like automatically text me, it sends it to like a messaging service that I can look at, but that's going to probably be the best way for you to send me your ideas of what would be really valuable to hear at Prep for Wave Week once we go live in October. So I'm also having like partnerships available, and then I'm also having affiliates, like just a couple new things here and there that I'm super excited about. This event, I'm also committed to 50% or more of my speakers being from a BIPOC community, LGBTQ plus community, neurodivergent, differently abled. I feel like I'm missing one, but people that are not normally in the mainstream, what we see within the travel industry. I really want to uplift different voices. So if you are that type of speaker, or you know a speaker that kind of fits in there, chronically ill, that's another one, because I'm a chronically ill girly. Really want to highlight those different voices too. So without further ado, I know there were lots of updates, but I've missed you. It has been a long time since I've been able to record a podcast for you, but that was also strategic and needed. I didn't want to feel burnt out by the podcast. And that's kind of something that we're going to be talking about in my 7 and 7. I guess that's what we're going to call this, 7 things that I learned. And so I kind of like was going through like what happened in each of the 7 months. And so first things first, diving into how I started the year was I was a major procrastinator at the end of 2023. And so a lot of things, I was busy in January, and busy is a good feeling, but not when it like starts being like busy, overwhelmed, and I don't feel like I have time for myself, time for my partner, time for my family. And so I was like, oh, we have got to stop procrastinating. And if you know me, I'm a chronic procrastinator. Who else? Anybody able to raise your hands? Let me know. I know I'm not the only one, but because I was super bad at procrastinating at the end and beginning of this year, I am working way in advance on a lot of things. So like I just mentioned, I'm working at Prep for Wave Week, and it's August 1st, and that event is not until October. I am working much earlier on things, and I've already started working on things since July on the things that are happening in fall, because fall is kind of like my Super Bowl. There's a lot of things that happen in fall that I'm so excited about. I am definitely not going to mention them all here because I feel like I probably overwhelmed you with enough today. But a lot of kind of like what is keeping me on track so that I'm not procrastinating is part of past Rita being like, don't do that again. Don't you dare do that again. So I have that really top of mind. And then also thinking of like, I can't wait until the last minute, because I remember 2023 fall was much better. 2022 fall was kind of similar, where it was a little bit hard because I waited till the last minute on a couple things. But what has like really been helping me a lot is when I write things out in advance. And this can be like as simple as just my notes app and starting to write ideas about things. I'm also trying to use my project management tool, ClickUp, a little bit more in just writing down systems and processes, so that like when I know I need to do this, I need to do that then. There's also like this other place to hold myself accountable, really, which is the project management tool within ClickUp. And especially when I'm like, okay, I need to keep track of where I'm at. I do that in the notes app on my phone, but then I just need another place, like kind of like that double accountability. So really don't have any kind of secrets to share with you about how to stop procrastination. I just know I don't want to feel that way again. And so I have to like work one, way in advance, and then also writing things out so I can already start to get a feel. I think like what helped me a lot is that I have this, it's called the Big Ass Calendar. I think you can find it on like Google or Amazon or something like that. And I think in June, I started really utilizing that calendar and writing out, okay, these are the different events that I have. These are the different things that I want to do, maybe some little trips and industry events. And I started putting Post-it notes. So I think that like already got me mentally preparing and mentally ahead on what the second half of the year was really going to be like. So if you're a calendar person, that may also be helpful for you. The number 2 thing that I learned this year so far is that I really, really need a break when I overwork myself, because February I pumped the brakes a lot big time. I feel like July was another one that I feel like I was partially a little experiencing like some burnout. And it's also, I guess, funny or coincidental because July, I had wanted to take a week off. And then I'm not ready to totally talk about this, but one of the friends that I had been working with for a pretty long time, things have not been going well in their business. So they had to kind of like cut off my services. And so I don't want to open it up further than that, but that like really threw in a monkey wrench. Thankfully, I already was working on something in the back end, so that's kind of like made up for that loss. But I felt like I couldn't take a break because I was in this like limbo period, and the balls were dropping when I wasn't expecting the balls to drop. And it was also at a time where I know historically summer takes a bit of a dip for me. This year, it felt like it was a little bit earlier, like more at the tail end of Q2 than at the start of Q3. So I guess that's a good thing. But what that also told me is that because I really haven't taken a break, and, you know, quite honestly, like when I look at things, like, do I take weekends off? Sure, but I haven't like taken a break off of work, because really any travel that I do is also work related. I need to take a break and I need to prioritize that. And I feel like that is super hard for us as business owners because we don't have things like vacation time like you can get when you're an employee for somebody else. So, and this is why it's so crucially important also to when you are like thinking of your numbers goals and factoring numbers goals in, that you have to account for the times that you won't be working or don't want to be working or can't be working, because that's just as important as you working. But if you haven't like made your fees a certain amount or haven't like set your sales goals at a certain amount to be more than what you need to accommodate for this downtime, you are really SOL, kind of like I was, because I feel like 2024 has been a year of like, I just need to keep going, keep doing. And there were 2 periods this year already that my body's like, nope, no, we're not. And it was very much jokes on me when I wanted to be super active. And I'm kind of like at the tail end of what I would say is my second burnout period. So huge apologies to anybody who's in the cruise content library. And I was really trying to crank out all the Utopia of the Seas content that I had gotten while I'm halfway. So I'm better than nothing. It's taken me a lot longer just because, again, I was at a period where I was like, I'm going to go. I need to go. I didn't take the time off that I should have taken. And my body's like, we're taking a break. You may not want to take a break, but we're taking a break. So being like really cognizant that I need to take some time off. So right now, my boyfriend actually has some time off in September. And so while we're probably just going to do a real chill, laid back staycation, I think like September is going to be that time where I'm going to take some time off. And that's also why it's important to work ahead, because I'm already doing a lot of work now so that when I know I'll be off in September, I don't have to worry, because things are going to be running in the back end for me, that everything, and I'm also working ahead now so that I don't have to worry too much about September as well. So, if you don't take a break, your body's going to force you to take a break, really is the overarching of number 2. So number 1 was I need to stop procrastinating. And number 2 is really to take a break when I feel overwhelmed or getting close to it, / taking a break to prevent feeling that feeling, because it is not fun. Number 3, I think I've been open on this podcast. If not, I've been really open with my community inside of Marketing Business School, that I need to take care of my body. And it's just so interesting that even like when I feel like I'm taking care of my body's like, psych, I am going to not be good to you right now. So if you do not know, I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis. It's an autoimmune disease where my immune system attacks my thyroid gland, and the thyroid gland controls a lot within your body. And then a couple years ago, I was also diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis, which being a cis female is not fun. Not fun one bit. And then earlier this year, because of my endometriosis issues, that's what I'm saying, I'm not a doctor or anything, I was also diagnosed with iron deficiency anemia. I forgot what the full term was. And so I want to say, like, definitely the first quarter into a little bit of quarter 2, it was not fun. It was scary trying to deal with like new symptoms, trying to deal with symptoms that I haven't had in many years. And now that I think about it, I'm sure my body was also like, you are working too much. And like, you put too much on my plate. Like, I'm going to go bananas, because that is somebody who has chronic illness or lives in a body with chronic illness. That's what happens. And so like, and it's so hard. I have always had trouble, even before I knew all this stuff, I've always had trouble like taking care of myself. We don't have to go into any of that, because I feel like that would be like a therapy session talking with you all. But it is just something that has been at the forefront. And I think it's also been a driver recently of, I think back to my word of the year, and that's something that I'm going to mention too later on. My word of the year is empower. And part of me, like, there are so many holistic and functional medicine things that I want to do, like different testings and see different specialists, but insurance does not cover any of that. So that comes out of pocket. And a lot of that is hundreds of dollars. And a lot of the stuff that I want to do, like if I'm accumulating and putting a calculator, it's definitely going to be over like $1,000 to kind of like do the extensive testing that I would like to do. So it's just gotten me, like, when we think of the whys within our business, that is definitely one of the whys. And it's pushing me to be more aggressive and more assertive on just certain things, and also making me see myself kind of like the badass that I am. I'm sorry, I know I've cursed already twice. I haven't meant to do it. I don't normally do it. But I'm just feeling so passionate just about everything in that, especially when I'm feeling the term empower. I really need to think of myself number 1. That is very hard for me to do, because I am a giver. I want to give as much as I can to you, to this industry, to the people that are around me. I want to be able to do everything. And I know that I can't do everything, but I also know that in order to be able to do everything, I have to stand on certain like laurels and certain legs and be very assertive. Like, no, this is who I am. This is the value that I provide. And specifically when it comes to income, like, this is what I deserve to be paid. So there was a lot through that transition this summer that I'm like, the old Rita, like we're going Taylor Swift here, the old Rita can't come to the phone anymore. The new Rita is here. And so that really doesn't have too much to do with the body, outside of the fact that my body and my health are motivating a lot of the income factors and the income things and things that I need to be doing, because I want to get answers and see the analytics and data behind that all. So number 3 is taking care of my body and making sure certain things happen within my business so that I can take care of my body appropriately. Number 4, this is a fun one. I'm a weirdo and I'm totally okay with it. I think I found this out. I mean, I have known that I'm a weirdo. I don't know what happened, but like this summer, I feel like, and maybe it was around Travel Pro Summit time, I feel like I'm the quirky person. I love color. I love really telling it like it is. Like I am really bearing a lot with you all here in this episode. And I don't think that there's no other person that's gonna be like me. But I want to be transparent where I can and where I feel comfortable. And not a lot of people are like that, and that's okay. And that's also why I know some of you have gravitated towards me, because I am quirky, because I am a weirdo, because I love color, because I talk astrology with you, because I love like geeking out about House of the Dragon, especially at my recent Travify presentation. So, I think I've really embraced that, and I'm trying to see, like, is this like my carve out zone within like the travel industry? Is that I'm just the odd one out. I'm just the oddball. I'm not like totally on the other side of things, but I'm like, I march to the beat of my own drum, and I'm okay with that. And I mentioned that to you also to like really feel in and exude whoever it is that you are for the people it is that you're serving, because they love you for exactly who you are. And so whether that is your neutral colors, or whether that's your pastels or your neons, whatever like mostly speaks to you and who you are and your interest in all that, really lean in on that and let whatever flag it is that you fly high, so that people like know exactly who you are, because people love that stuff. And that's also how you can like share your values, and that's also how you can like align with other people and know if other people are in alignment with you, is being that weirdo person. So I highly, highly encourage it. And I love when I can meet other weirdos in this industry. So if you are also a weirdo or like my weirdo energy, thank you. And also keep on being your weirdo self too. Number 5, kind of like learning of this first 7 months is, at this point, any new idea that I might have is really for 2025. So when I started 2024, my like big goal was to start a blog for the podcast. And you can check it out, strategictravelentrepreneurpodcast.com. There's only 10 podcasts that are up there in blog form. And clearly we're over 160 episodes. I was hoping to be much more further on that project. And then my brilliant beyond brilliant idea of cruise content library came in. And while I still stand by that idea, I still think it is hugely and largely needed within the industry. And it's going to be a really great resource for your business, especially if you specialize in cruising and want to promote cruising and your services via social media. That is going to be a really great product that you want to be in the center of, and it's currently still on pre-sale and will probably be on pre-sale for a little bit longer as I start building everything back in there, so that because I think when we launch, we're going to have seriously close to 2,000 short vertical video clips for you to use. But The cruise content library was not a thought, was not an idea, or not an inkling. So I will say, while cruise content library is a really great idea, it also derailed where my focus was on blogging for the year, which is not good because blogging was like the passive-ish way where I was going to be getting some visibility already using content that I've already put out there. And while it's gained a little bit of traction, it's definitely not near the traction where I wanted to be at this point. So I say that to also like let you know, like we got to stay with our focuses. But if something is like really calling to your heart, like I don't want you to be like, nope, we got to wait to do this. Just be mindful of how like you're going to juggle all the things, because it is still my goal to have all the articles up by the end of the year. I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen or not, but there are so many new ideas that are coming to me because I am just an ideas, creativity person, which I didn't think that I was until like a couple of years ago, which is also pretty cool. But, yeah, any new ideas that I have, I've already started a 2025 list in my notes app because I'm like, this is a really great idea, but I can't take anything on extra than what I've already planned for this year. Because again, there's a couple more events in this year to help prep for the next year. And then there's a little fun one that we're thinking about for the end of the year, so stay tuned. But yeah, any new ideas, those are 2025 problems at this point in my book. I don't know if you are also the same, but I'm like, no, we can't. It is 2024 is stuffed already. Number 6 is it kind of like goes in. Actually, we can put this like as a 5-6. Because it goes in together. It's don't overwhelm myself. So yeah, we're going to put that together. That's 6. It really isn't a 6 because I literally just talked about that, about the cruise content library and the blog and like just having an exuding of ideas. So the real 6, see, I'm glad I had different bonuses on this list already. The real 6 is going to be, so I did this training with Travify for their new agent boot camp a couple weeks ago. And I talked a lot about the numbers in your business. So I kind of went over through like the different income brackets that I feel like are pretty common for a lot of people. So I had $2,500 a month, which annually is $30,000 a month. So it is on the lower scale of income. And then I feel like I kind of like put it in there in the middle. I did the $5,000 a month, which is $60,000 a year. I feel like there's a lot of people who are kind of like in that income or want to be making that income. It's pretty common. And then I did 6 figures, which was just over like $8,000 a month. And it helped people, but there were so many people who were like, I could never do those numbers. And I was like, what do you mean you can't do those numbers? And I think the overwhelming part of that was $2,500 doesn't mean that that's the income that you're going to bring home. $2,500 really means you need to bring $3,800 home to factor in things like taxes and credit card fees. And so I'm trying to figure out where the gap might be. And I feel like the gap might be a lot on being sold the dream that travel can be a really nice side hustle, but travel is not a side hustle unless you're doing kind of like lower lift. I want to say, especially if you're on the tour supplier, travel supplier side, DMC side, if you're on the travel advising side, these are not low lift type of entrepreneurial businesses. There is a lot of licensing, a lot of liability. And because, especially on the travel advisor side, you're working highly on commission, you have to factor in that, a travel, like a business coach can say they need $2,500 a month. That's the sales that they need to have is $2,500 a month. And we're not talking about expenses and all that, trying to just be simple. But a travel advisor needs to make 10 times that amount or needs to sell 10 times that amount in order to make that $2,500 because of the commissionable base of this industry. And so it's almost like, because full transparency here, nobody taught me that when I first started my travel agency in 2010. When I first learned about this stuff was I'm pretty sure it was back in 2020, about looking at the numbers in that way. And it wasn't even from a travel industry person. And that is not great. That is not great. And so when a lot of people are coming into this industry, especially if you don't have any entrepreneurial or business background, like maybe you haven't been an entrepreneur before, but you haven't like served in any sort of like leadership or management role that has to deal with looking at the numbers and things like that, it is really hard, especially like when you are thinking that you just need to do X amount of revenue to bring X amount of money. And like flipping that switch, I think that's why, especially when we're looking at the larger host agencies, there's like a very small fraction of those advisors are actually making good, decent income. And a lot of those people that are at the top, the difference is that they know what their numbers are and they strive to go for those numbers. A lot of those people have also probably been in business for quite some time and did a lot of the trial and error to get there. Everybody's business story is a little bit different, but especially from like what I have learned in the past couple years, like you cannot be successful with whatever success means for your business if you don't have a target goal of numbers in your mind. So I mentioned this because I'm like, I don't know how I can alleviate this for the travel industry or better equip you, other than like some of the things that I currently do within the industry. But it was just an observation that lots of people are overwhelmed by the numbers. And I'm not even talking about like cash flow. I'm not talking about like bookkeeping or anything like that, because I am not a finance person. But I do know that it is a heck of a lot easier to talk about your business if you know what you need to be selling. But you need to know what your numbers are, to know what kinds of services or products to sell. And that's how you know what you're going to be marketing. Like, we have to reverse engineer all this. I feel like we're starting to think like on the bigger side instead of beginning like with the very basics. Because if you don't know that you need to sell 5 river cruises every month, how do you know what you need to be marketing? What's going to be going out into your marketing messages? How do you know like where you should be going and attending and meeting people, networking? How do you know if you don't know that that's what the end goal is? That you need to be selling 12 Disney trips every single month. That you need to sell 5 expedition trips every single month in order to make your revenue goals. It is very hard. And like, again, like I'm open to suggestions and I'm open to any thoughts on what I can do to help you all make this a little bit easier. But that was a little, it took me by surprise when there was a lot of negativity of like, oh, I'll never make those numbers. Oh, I'll never have the clientele for that. And that should not be the viewpoint. And I think I had an episode earlier this year about like reframing your mind, because especially if it's just $2,500 a month, if you don't think you can make sales of $3,800 a month to get where you need to be, or more than that, because that's what you need to be bringing in. I don't know that you should be in business for yourself, because $30,000 a year I feel is like the bare minimum in order to make any sort of decent income, whether you're supplementing somebody else's income, whether your income is just to be for investments for the future or to pay off hospital bills or whatever it is. If you don't think that you can make those kinds of sales, you probably shouldn't be in business. And I apologize if that's a little bit hard, but that's just the reality of being in business. If you don't think you can do certain things, like, why did you get into this business? And maybe it's just time to like just do a heart to heart with yourself on like what it is that you wanted to get into this business, because maybe it should be that you might need to be doing a different career within this business. But if you are looking at the numbers from the aspect of like, okay, so this is what I need to be making, this is what I need to be doing, how do I get there, what do I need to be doing to get there, that puts it in a whole other light. Like, you are becoming the person in the driver's seat. And I know that if you were thinking of the numbers, like in terms of that, you are going to be successful, because there is nothing that's going to stop you from getting to your goals. And so that's really what you have to have at the forefront. Especially when my income was a little dicey this past summer, that's what I was looking to. I was looking back to the calculator where I'm like, okay, this is the bare minimum number that I need to be making. This would be the nice to have number that I need to be making. Now, how can I get from point A to point B? That is the mindset that you need to have and adapt. We are problem solvers, not only like for the people that we serve, but we also have to be our own number one problem solver. So just keep that in mind as well. So number 7 thing that came to me was that, or the realization is that when I feel lost within my business, when I keep my goals and things like my word of the year top of mind, that helps me keep back on track to different things, especially when we're thinking of like, ooh, that's a nice shiny object. How can I get that? If certain things don't align with me, or if I'm feeling like frazzled, or if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I have to go back to center. And center really is like, what are my goals? My word of the year was empowered. Do I feel empowered? How can I make myself feel empowered? How can I make others around me feel more empowered? Something else that I go back to, and I don't know if you've done your Clifton Strengths before, but that is something that also keeps top of mind. And let me see if I can find them in my phone as I'm going off here, because I'm like, I feel like I always forget what my Clifton Strengths are, my top 5. So there's 34. My top 5 are harmony, futuristic, connectedness, learner, and input. So there's like 4 different sectors within that. So there's relationship building, there's strategy, there's execution, and there's influential. And so my top strengths are in strategy and relationship building. And so while I might not remember all 5 of them all the time, like I remember that like I excel at relationship building and I excel at strategic thinking. So how, like, if I'm lost and I'm not sure what the next best thing is, how can I like really lean in on those strengths to get me to the next part of where I need to be? Those are kind of like, what do they call, like your true north? That's like where my compass is. And I've been doing this for quite a few years, but I think like it's just something that I remember every now and then. Like when I'm feeling like things are out of control, I'm like, okay, what was my goal? My goal was X amount. We got to get back to X amount. What was my word of the year? Okay, I'm not really feeling this way. How can we get back into alignment of our word of the year? So I hope that like helps you out when you're feeling similarly, because I know a lot of you are kind of like feeling almost a lull in business right now in between summers. I say summer is ending because I'm in Florida and summer is ending. Like school is going to be starting back like in 1 or 2 weeks over here, but I know a lot of you don't go back for like another month. So while my summer is ending, you're still like hot full in summer. So yeah, there's kind of a lull that's happening right now in between like all the summer vacations having gone out or still going out, and festive season, which is quickly coming upon us. So what can you do to kind of like buffer in between that season as well? If you're lost and feeling like, ooh, go back to what were your original goals for the year and what was your word of the year, so that you can get back on track and like give yourself like the pick me up that you need. And then the bonus is really the other thing that I think about that kind of like goes in with this is, what do people need? Because I might have a certain sense of like, this is what people need, or like people are going to love this, people are going to love that. And sometimes I am not the best judgment of character or judgment of what people need. And so if you have not already like done some sort of feedback form or done some sort of focus group, highly encourage that, because I ran a focus group early in July. And if you were one of my focus group attendees, thank you so incredibly much, because that has been so helpful. Like, you're going to see where some of your feedback is coming to light as I shape some of the things that are happening within my business, take the helm later this year in some of my programming. And like, that would not have been possible without getting feedback. I think the other thing that kind of goes into this, like when I think about what people need, I think the overwhelming thing that I've kind of learned, and I knew this, but it was like another realization, is that we all don't need stuff. We all get a lot of stuff. What we need is to be doing things and putting things into action. And sometimes fear is a lot of the thing that holds us back. Not having like, because many of us are solopreneurs, so not having like an office where you can talk and gab with other people is one of the things that can hold us back. Not exactly knowing how to do something, which that's also like just trusting your instincts and going with something. And like, if it flops, get back on the horsey and let's keep moving forward. But really, when I'm thinking about that true north and compass, it's also thinking about like, what do people need? Because it's not about me. And you can relate this to your travel business similarly, especially when we're thinking about marketing and making marketing all about you. And I'm looking at you, people who are still saying, I love to travel in my marketing. People are not going to be like, oh my gosh, you love to travel, I should really book my trip with somebody who loves to travel. That's not why people are booking with you. Side tangent there. But what are people really needing from your services? What are people really needing when they take X type of trip with X type of people? Looking at what your people need and kind of like doing this market research is going to be so super beneficial to guide the things that you do for the rest of the year, because you may have thought one thing, but it was something totally different. But you couldn't have known that had you not talked to the people. And these should be people who are already in your system. They've purchased some of your things. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily like your family and friends who kind of know what you're doing, but haven't like really purchased from you before. They're kind of like a separate, like you need to go with the people who already know and love what you're doing when you're going through the market research, so that you can have like really honest feedback from that as well. So that's kind of like my 7+ things that I've learned. Not learned necessarily, maybe it's like relearned, or that have kind of like come to the forefront for me these past 7 months, is that your girl needs to stop procrastinating. So, and I'm already working on that, already doing that. That when I don't say that I need a break, my body's going to determine that I need to break. So I need to take breaks more often. I need to take care of my body more often. I'm a weirdo and I like it. One of the biggest things is that most ideas at this stage in the game, August 1st, those are probably really great for 2025. That lots of people are really scared of their numbers, and what can I do to help out or overcome that, or make it a little bit easier for you not to be scared. Keeping my goals, my word of the year, top of mind when I'm feeling a little bit of out of balance. and then really going back to the heart of what my audience, what my people need, when I'm not sure the next step that I should be taking or going in, or what would be most beneficial to them. So I hope this, and I'm so sorry this went very long, but I hope this kind of like bird's eye view into like my mind and my business has really helped you out and giving you some ideas. If not, maybe like giving you a boost that you needed, like a swift kick in the pants to get something done that you may have been putting off in your business. So let me know, send me a text. I'd love to hear what you thought about any of my like ahas from this year or this episode. All right, you have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you here next week.